Hey everyone, today we're going to be taking a look at this Maingear MG1. Now this isn't just any MG1, this is one that I actually built myself, even though it looks very similar to the ones that Maingear has done. So recently they had a drop where they're selling the case separately from a pre-built computer. They do a fantastic job with those, but as they've done in the past, they've also offered different DIY cases, so that way if you're an enthusiast and you want to build in a case like this, you can do that as well. This one came with this special edition front. These are actually removable. You can see this is the one that usually comes with the standard cases if you get a pre-built from them. But for about $99, you can actually customize them, kind of like this. They pop right off. I have a different one here on a different MG that I actually did with my logo. So they're very, very cool. You can see they light up, RGB, there's lighting on the side with a nice, really big special edition mouse mat as well. So I think it's actually pretty cool. And I also picked up a 360mm AIO, which is mounted right here on the front. That way, I'm gonna get the maximum performance, and it's the exact same one that they actually use. As you can see, if we pop open this panel in the front, you can see the AIO is intaking air right through the front. You have 320mm fans, and this in here I have a 7800X3D, so it does more than an adequate job. It absolutely, dominates the CPU in terms of cooling. You can even get away with a much smaller cooler, as the 7800X3D isn't particularly power hungry. It's not like a 14900K or anything like that, and you still get some pretty amazing gaming performance. You can simply pop the panel right back on, and the little light comes on. It's actually set to white, so that's probably why it's harder to see in the camera. So the case is very light as well. It's not a very heavy case at all. And then here you have these thumb screws that you can take off. And of course, to reveal the nice tempered glass here, you just pop right off. And then it's going to reveal the interior of the case. As you can see, plenty of room. I have an RTX 4070 Founders Edition in here right now, but you can easily fit up to, 4090. You wouldn't have any problem fitting it there. And you have these nice little cutouts here for your cables on the bottom, as well as your cable for the GPU right here. And obviously, you also have the, radiator space in the front. And now I know the front is a bit closed off, but you do have air openings on the side. It's not a mesh panel. You could technically leave this front panel off if you're going to be doing like a heavy gaming session or something like that. But I kind of tested it out a bit, and it doesn't make that big of a difference. The airflow is certainly sufficient, especially considering that it's a 7800X3D, and this AIO is going to be a bit overkill for that anyway. Then of course you have this fan in the back. It's an RGB fan that comes with the case. And then on top, I put the two fans that were in the front in the stock configuration. I put them on the top just so you have some nice airflow. Air coming in through the front, out the back, and up the top. Overall, this definitely keeps things nice and cool. Pretty decent airflow. Obviously, a front, mesh panel is going to give you more airflow. And if you're going to be, GPU centric, doing the cooler this way, you may want to put the cooler maybe on top if you want more fresh air to come in for your GPU. Let's say you're running maybe like a 4090 or something that's going to run a lot hotter than a 4070. So you could definitely do that as well. And then you're just going to prioritize the cooling of your GPU, and then the CPU, especially for gaming, you'll be okay even if the AIO, the radiator, happens to be on top. But this way, with most builds, I think it works pretty well, and I believe it's pretty much similar to the way that they do their builds. I have an MG Diamond here, which is a 4070 Ti on this side, and that's pretty much the same way that they did everything there. But you can see you have an ample amount of space and room, and then inside you also have two RGB strips. You have one right on the bottom and then one on the interior here, kind of going in that direction. So overall, it's not a large case, it's very light, and it has a really nice amount of room here. Really not bad at all. You can fit pretty much any type of build that you want while being, pretty compact. And I do like the design of the case. The glass pops on and off very easily. That's definitely important if you're going to be messing around with your hardware a lot. And then overall, just a very nice looking case. So in the back, it's the same thing. You have two thumb screws. I'm gonna turn it around, and after removing the thumb screws, you can see how the back of it looks like. And I did spend a little extra time here just to make sure that the cables are nice and tidy. I like doing builds like that. And you can see all the front panel stuff, your USB cables, everything like that, very neatly go around. You have your, ample space for your power supply at the bottom here. You do get this, really nice fan controller as well. This can connect to your motherboard to sync up all of the RGB. It has, various slots for not only your fans, so you can control the PWM as you connect it to your motherboard as well, but also for all the RGB fans that you may have. And see, it was pretty easy to keep the fans nice and tidy. There are a lot of cables in this build because in the front, you have 3 RGB fans. So that's a PWM cable as well as the RGB cable itself. The top is 2 more non-RGB fans, but in the back you have an additional RGB fan, so the PWM header as well as the RGB cable. Then of course you have the AIO with the pump and things like that. So, it's a lot of fans, it's a lot of connections. So this controller lets you have a nice, sort of centralized place to have all your fans run through. So, you could always use a third-party fan controller, but if the case includes it already, that's certainly a pretty nice touch. And obviously you have your SSD slots if you're going to use like a 2.5-inch SSD or something like that. And obviously you have your, access to your motherboard in the back here in case you need to do something or depending on your build. And then ample, cable space right on the bottom. So overall, a very nice case, and you can fit a lot of stuff in it for the size. And really my favorite, these, these swappable front panels are just very, very cool to see. Now, I don't know how long they're going to be selling these for. It seems like they said it was limited edition in the drop. But anyway, unless you buy one of their pre-built, what they have, they have various types that are also, priced pretty nicely, I think. This is a cool way if you want to build yourself. And then you can order a bunch of these, personalize them. Looks really, really cool. Very nice touch. All right, guys, so remember to subscribe, smash that like button, and I'll see you guys on the next video.